NASCAR 07 on the Mark Martin Revenge Tour season. Here today, we are at the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the running of the Ford 400, as we have yet to try to get the 13th win of the season for Mark Martin. We did not do that yesterday, coming off a 6th-place finish in the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in that race. And Jimmy Johnson ended up winning it, a fuel mileage win for Johnson. We expected it was going to be a fuel mileage race going in, assuming that it went caution-free. It did go caution-free. That's exactly what it turned out. And in the end, Johnson was able to coast his way to victory on fumes. So we'll see who's going to win in today's race. We haven't had a caution since lap 8 of Phoenix 2 races ago. Maybe we'll see more cautions in this one. Maybe we'll see more of the same where we'll have a lack of yellows. We'll have to wait and see. Qualified on the pole. I made a setup change from practice to qualifying. Practice, I was first overall. And you know the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And for some reason, I tried to fix it. I actually was slower in qualifying by about 1/10.5 than what it was in practice. I had about 2/10 on the field in practice. And then I made the setup change in qualifying to try to free it up a little bit because I felt it was a little too snug. Like if I was in traffic, you know, maybe it was going to be bad. I should have left it like that for at least qualifying. Because in qualifying, I only got the pole by a couple hundredths of a second. And I did drop quite a bit. They got a little quicker and I got a little slower. So I moved the setup back to where it was in practice. I didn't have any traffic I was dealing with in practice. So I don't know how it's going to be here. Kind of similar to the start of the Indy race yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I have a feeling we'll be quick again. I mean, that's kind of been the story of the season. We've been quick nearly everywhere. Green flag is in the air. We got 3 Roush cars starting 1, 2, 3. We'll see if we finish 1, 2, 3. It is the Ford 400 after all, and we are driving a Ford, so go figure the best Ford team in this era of NASCAR is the one that's trying to lead the way. Opening lap in the books off of turn 4. 400-mile, 267-lap race. It's our fourth consecutive 400-mile race, going back to the Pepsi 400 at Daytona as well. But Martin leads lap 1, and we've got Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle hot on his heels. Judo the Goober, Wade Solinsky, thanks for tuning in. Great car sneaking to the inside of Martin off turn 4 at the line. Martin leads lap 2, but Matt Kenseth is there. Have to be patient. As I say that, I cracked the wall. It's kind of a bad spot to be stuck on the outside. A lot of smoke in 3 and 4. I see one car well behind the rest of the pack on the track map, and that might have been whoever got in the wall there. Kenseth leads lap 3. And Sadler's going to get to the lead in turns 1 and 2 with a line of Biffle and Martin getting back by the 17 of Kenseth. So same thing happened to Kenseth as what happened to Martin the lap before. Stuck on the outside, loses a few positions, going from 1st to 4th in the span of about a corner. Martin trying to get back to 2nd place behind Biffle. But Elliott Sadler leading the pace here in the early going of the Ford 400. Another Ford, of course, Robert Yates racing. The Ford's dominating early. I'm going to be patient and just kind of sit in line behind him for a minute. Try to get this field spaced out a little more. We keep alternating the lead back and forth. I don't think that's going to end up happening. Yeah, I saw the Tigers won 7-2 last night. Yeah, that Mudheads game was wild. Walk-off walk in the 9th inning. They were down 3-1 going into the 9th. They had 5 walks. This dude, I kid you not, the closer for the, they were playing the Louisville Bats. So it was a AAA team for the Cincinnati Reds. This dude was throwing 104 miles an hour. I'm like, why is he in AAA? It's because he couldn't hit the strike zone. He had 5 walks. Gave up 2 singles, 5 walks in the 9th inning, and they ended up winning. They had 3 straight walks in the last 3 at-bats to go because they were down 3-2 at the time. Runners on first and second, 2 outs. They had nobody out, and then Akil Baddoo flew out to center field. Torkelson flew out to left center. And then there was 2 outs, 2 on. 4-pitch walk. Then it was a full count walk, which that tied the game because the bases were loaded then. So then it was 3-3, and then it was another full count walk. It just went to the don't swing strategy. I was yelling that too. I was like, don't swing. Like, this guy can't throw strikes. That's the only reason he's in the minor leagues. I feel like automatically if you could throw 104 miles an hour, you should be in the MLB, but he struggles with his location, apparently. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. It's very much a minor league finish to a baseball game. Like that, only in the minor leagues you'll find a pitcher throwing 104 miles an hour as a closer in the 9th inning, walked 5 guys and give up 2 runs off of 5 walks and 2 base hits to lose the game 4-3. So I'm 2-0 when going to baseball games this year. Tigers opening day, they won 5-4 at home and 3-2 here. Or 4-3, excuse me, last night. A walk-off walk. NASCAR Penske Cup Series racing, thanks for tuning in as well. Which nation do I think is going to win the most medals? I feel like the U.S. usually does, don't they? I feel like the Winter Olympics are usually a lot more competitive from like the top 3 or 4 countries. But I feel like when it comes to the Summer Olympics, the U.S. typically are up towards the top. Like, there's specific sports that they aren't as good as other countries in, but it's like overall, collectively, they tend to get more medals because they can be competitive in nearly every sport. Tigers win again today. They'll be a game under 500. Yep. It's tough. I mean, they very rarely lose when Skubal's pitching, too, so I'm sure that helped last night. He had another strong outing, 7 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts. I saw he only gave up those 2 runs, so great to see. I was score tracking the game when I was at the AAA game. Running some fast laps in line behind Sadler. Haven't really been like super close to making a pass on him. It's like that lap and a half gap or so, or not lap and a half, about a car length and a half gap or so behind him. I can't really get closer than this. So, I mean, you had all those Roush cars qualifying 1, 2, 3, and then, oh man, I got really tight there. And that's what I mean. This car's a little tight in traffic. I loosened it up, though, and it was a little too slow because it was too loose. I like this balance because I feel like that's going to allow me to make all 400 miles without crashing, but you know, if I have to be aggressive on the last pit stop of the day with making a setup change, if I still can't beat this 38 car, then that might be what I'm going to have to do. Jerry Fasnat, thanks for tuning in. How many wins does Martin have this season? 12. 12 wins. I will say though, I haven't picked the season back up again until 2 days ago. It went like 11 months since then, so you haven't missed much, I will say, from this season in particular. The apron does have grip on this Homestead, I will say. I found that out in practice. I kind of remember that from the earlier EA games too. It was kind of the same thing. Stephen Harvey, thanks for tuning in also. Sadler and Martin are running away with it. This 38 car is quick, though. Elliott Sadler's top 5 in the point standings. He's been very consistent this season. These last 2 races hasn't had a top 10 finish, unfortunately, but looking for speed on a 1.5 miles here tonight. Well, today, I guess. It's a night race, but we're technically running this in the afternoon on a Sunday, so not used to this. Of course, NASCAR being off frees up my afternoons, Saturdays, and Sundays now, so just for the next couple weeks. You know, why wait till later tonight when I can, you know, get these streams out of the way earlier in the day? The classic noon NASCAR start times, too. We can't get them in real life. We can get them here. Only on KRC. Four-game set against the Royals next weekend. Kansas City's been slumping. A little bit before the All-Star break, I noticed, and then I think they lost 2 out of 3 against Arizona. They're scoring runs, but they're pitching struggling mightily. It's the opposite of the Tigers, typically. Outside of the last couple weeks, at least, for Detroit. Here and there, they'll have a sluggish game. That happens to everybody, hitting-wise. Even the best teams in baseball lose 50 to 60 games a season. So, I mean, it's not like it's a easy sport to just go out and win every single night. It just won't happen. It's too many games. Well, the good news is we did lead the first 2 laps before losing the lead from the pole. Kenseth led for 1, and Elliott Sadler's led every lap since. When we get into lap traffic, I wonder if that's going to change anything at all. I mean, it took us like almost half the race to get into lap traffic yesterday going caution-free at Indy. Obviously, this track 1 mile less in length, 1.5 miles versus a 2.5 mile oval. But I could see a couple of lap cars that we're going to be closing in on here relatively quick, so. And these 2 are pulling away from the pack. I was looking low there in the front stretch. I just can't get enough run off the exit of the corner. I can't, like, there's just nothing there. Can't get close enough to him. That fight for the bottom lane getting into the corner, too. Like, my car, with having this tighter setup, it's so tight in the center of the corner, like I can't get back to the gas as soon as what I want. By the way, making it over 8 laps without a caution in this race. We've gone 2 full NASCAR races without a caution. We went caution-free yesterday, and our only caution at Phoenix was on lap 8 on Friday night. I mean, this is an absurd stretch of Cup Series racing without a caution. Our first caution-free race of the season, nonetheless, was at Indy yesterday. Kind of combine that with last week having 2 caution-free Busch Series races, and it's like, what's going on? It's like this game isn't throwing any yellows anymore. Dave Blaney is going to be the first car to go a lap down running that outside lane of the racetrack. Trying to get that low exit off turn 4 there. Chop my nose off. Where do you think you'll start out of 20 cars F1 2023? Or, no clue. I'm assuming you're doing a career mode on that game, if I had to guess. Yeah, man, I can't get to where I want to be with him. Kyle Petty going a lap down in that 45 car as well. Oh boy, big run there. That's not what I wanted to do to try to pass him, but I don't know what happened to Sadler. He had to jump out of the gas. He went wide and then jumped out of the throttle. Like, I hadn't been anywhere near that close to making a pass on him this entire run until right there. A little bit of contact made. Sadler luckily kept it off the wall, but now Martin's out ahead by about a half a second or so. Yeah, that was not intentional by any means. I really don't know how that happened. He'll be back. He's got a... I think his car is a little quicker than mine. He'll be back. Hopefully he's not too upset. I don't know, like, he cleared Kyle Petty already. We both did, really. So I don't know why he checked up so much in the middle of the corner. Should be about halfway through this fuel run already. I'd imagine we can go a little over 60 laps on a full tank here. It's kind of the case for most mile and a halves on this game. With the Busch and the Cup Series, at least. Truck Series fuel window a little different than that. And the Sadler's right there. Get my few laps of glory leading, and here he comes, just creeping in. Said he's not that much quicker than me, but I definitely think he's got a faster car. GC1424, thanks for tuning in. I mean, I'm trying to protect the bottom as much as I can here. Doing what I can. Trying to fight back for this laps led. The race for 10 bonus points. Even though I've got, like, the biggest points lead in NASCAR history right now, I still would like to build that cushion. See how many races early I can clinch the championship. The rate and the pace we're going at. It is Elliott Sadler. Yeah, I definitely think he's got a quicker car. Now that I'm in front of him, though, I feel like I could kind of control this a little better. I'm still going to be thinking about how he checked up in the middle of the corner as much as he did for me to pass him like a handful of laps ago in the first place. I really don't know why he was so slow. He had a big run on me on the backstretch. I overdrove it. Yeah, there he goes. Might get another lap led here. Nope. Nah, he had his bumper out in front of me. Just ran my quickest lap of the race. I missed the corner, and I still ran my fastest lap as I'm getting passed by the 38. Like, that's how fast this car... Like, he gets in front of me, and I just can't. I can't get around him. Like, I can't even get close enough to get a run on him. I could keep up in the draft, and that's about it. That's pretty much all I've got at that point. Tony Raines and David Stremme. All these lap cars are running like the high side of the racetrack. I think they need to give it like another 10 plus years, and then they'll be able to run that line. I don't think they were running that high at Homestead back in 2006. Sadler going wide again. I mean, I really don't know why he... It seems like when he's around lap cars, for some reason he keeps checking up in the middle of the corners. I don't know why that is, but that's what's happening. And that's why I've been able to pass him twice. It's weird, too, because they're running the very outside lane of the racetrack. It almost looks like Sadler's kind of widening his arc out a lot more than he was before, too. I think that could be slowing him down. I pulled him through 3 and 4 that time. I just ran my quickest lap, 31.526. Is that what that was? So, I mean, it... Game is legitimately too easy for... Yeah, I mean, this Cup Series... It's definitely been a breeze as far as competing for wins on a regular basis. I mean, we consistently have like one of the fastest cars. But the Busch Series season was so competitive with Tony Stewart. It was almost like too competitive. And we probably should have lost that championship. But able to win it by 12 points at the end. Even the Truck Series season was tight until I think Hornaday blew an engine like the second to last race of the season, and we pulled away from him from that. Starting to pull Sadler now. Maybe he's just got a good short run car. I legitimately could not keep up with him those first probably 20 to 25 laps. And now we're pulling away, and it looks as if we may have the fastest car in the field on the long run. But yeah, the short run, I definitely think he's better. But he's slowing up now. I'll take it. Win this race by 3 laps. Yeah, I guess it depends how many cautions we end up getting. I should have won Indy yesterday. Lap 92, I ran out of gas off of turn 2. I had to coast to pit road, and I ended up finishing 6th. Won by a couple laps at Phoenix the other night. Granted, the pit strategy was a little weird for the AI, but still won the race by 2 laps. I mean, I know you've played NASCAR 08, NASCAR 09. I haven't. Is the AI just as easy in this game, or is it harder? I am curious to know. Firing up the game just to run this with you. A competition, who can win by more? 08 on PS2? Yeah, I am going to play 08 on PS2 when we get through this NASCAR 07 stuff. There is, I do want to do more with this. I haven't ran any of the modifieds yet in a while on these playthroughs, so I do want to jump in those too at some point. And I wanted to try to challenge myself because I know they have like a grading system with this game. Mark Martin's an A-plus car. I'm sure that probably helps me. I'm going to try to put myself in one of the lower tier Cup Series cars and see if I can still win as many races there. Maybe that'll create a more competitive championship. This being a custom schedule season, it's a full season points format too, so it's not going to tighten up in these last 10 races with the chase. So I'm also going to have that kind of incorporated. So I do want to see if we can have a more challenging season out of this with the Cup Series. I remember on the PSP version, that was the version I played of this game the most growing up, and I do remember winning a lot, like on a Legend difficulty, and I will say for me, doing that at a younger age, I probably shouldn't have. Like, looking back on it, I'm way better, more coordinated with just playing video games in general now. I think just being more intelligent than what I was when I was like 8, 10 plus years old playing that. This is definitely even more easier than I remembered. I always remembered growing up, like, I would suck at Dover and Charlotte. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, it seemed like the AI were faster at those tracks on the PSP version of the game. And they would always be, like, back-to-back races early in the season, too. So I could, like, go out on the rip if I was running shorter races. I wasn't really, like, running, like, 100% races like this either, but go out and like win the first like 10, 11 races, and then I would suck at Charlotte and Dover, and then go back out and dominate more. Then I get into the chase and have to deal with those two tracks again and hope I wouldn't lose too many points to them. Driving as if well, he's definitely the one to beat in this race. I'm starting to pull away from him, like I said, a little bit. And the right front's starting to wear out a little more at this point. We could probably go a lot longer on fuel than what I was initially thinking. I wasn't paying attention as to when I hit halfway out of gas, but we're definitely going to go well more than like 60 laps. I feel like usually that like 60 to 65, 67 range is normal on the mile and a halves on these EA games, but we might go well longer than that here tonight. The AI might end up hitting about lap 60. Because these last two races, they've had a shorter fuel window for some reason. So we'll take this as long as we can in case we get a yellow. Maybe get lucky, trap on the lap down. I didn't put a question up in the poll before the stream started, so if we get to that first pit stop, I'll put something up. I'll ask you guys how many cautions you think we're going to get in this one, just because we haven't had many in these last couple races. There had one combined yellow in the last two races. We're starting caution-free through 52 laps already. Just the more and more spaced out this field gets, too. I mean, you get, like, natural spins with this game more, I'd say, than what you would have in, like, the early, like, NASCAR Thunder games, but I mean, still, we just haven't seen many of them lately. Ryan Berwick, thanks for tuning in, by the way. I didn't see you there a couple seconds ago. Game was good last night. Mud Hens won in a walk-off walk in the bottom of the ninth. I was talking about it early in the stream that only in the minor leagues you can go to a random like AAA game. Your home team will be down 3-1 going into the bottom of the ninth, and the closer for the other team can throw 104 miles an hour, then proceed to give up 5 walks, 2 base hits, and all of a sudden we end up winning 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth. He walked 5 guys. 5 walks in the bottom of the ninth. I kid you not, though. He was throwing between 102 to 104 miles an hour every fastball he was throwing. It was just... But he just couldn't hit the strike zone. Wow, Dave Blaney's about to go 2 laps down already. I've barely lapped any cars in this race, I feel like. But somehow Dave Blaney is getting lapped a second time already. He's extraordinarily slow. Difficulty's hard to define on 08, PS2, last 2 PS2. Those were 90% rubber banding. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what you mean by rubber banding. If that's like gameplay lingo, I'm foreign to that. I think a large reason to it is I don't watch enough like video game content, like in general. That's probably why I don't really... I feel like I probably should know. Oh, yep, yeah, so we got cars pitting around lap 60. I kind of figured this was going to happen. It's what we've seen the last couple races. And I believe they're going to use the access road because I saw cars pitting in practice. And they were using the access road, both getting on and off of pit road. I'll probably have to use it leaving pit road. I did wreck in practice trying to leave the pits on the access road. It's very slippery. I ended up overcorrecting it. I shot across the grass and cleared out Bobby Labania. Had a vicious accident in practice. So I'm going to hope that would be how I lose this race. Is by slipping up on the access road. I want to not use it. The problem is where the grass is at, you can't, like, miss the access road and go straight to the racetrack without probably causing a yellow, because you have to make, like, a 90-degree turn to the right. Nonetheless, by the time you do that, I'll probably get cleaned out by somebody coming up. Yeah, that's the one thing I kind of feared coming into this race, was having to make any green flag pit stops. I was really hoping we'd get a few cautions, so I wouldn't have to pit under green and have to deal with that. Pit road entry's fine. I wasn't using the access road there. I had plenty of time to break off turn 4 and get in, but yeah, leaving the pits, that's going to be a challenge. Probably going to be the biggest challenge in this race. Keeps things interesting or whatever. What, with like just random cautions, or like the field will be faster if you get way ahead and vice versa? Like if you're way behind, you'll be a little faster than the rest of the field. I think that's what kind of happened at Indy when I ran out of gas, because I was like, I kid you not, when I came out of the pits, and I know a few people in the chat were like, oh yeah, you're going to come back like easily. And then I got to within like a dozen seconds off the lead, and I couldn't really close more than a couple tenths a lap at a time, and that was pretty much it. I got to within about 8.3 seconds, and obviously well short of catching Johnson at the finish. Got back up to 6th. Like, I felt like I'd never been that fast compared to the AI the entire time on this game. Oh, we got near trouble. So somebody just hit the wall going into turn one. It was one of those, there's two lap cars that are running near each other a ways ahead of me. And I think they made contact going into turn three and ended up in the wall. But, green flag pit stops are proceeding. First time tonight. Oh, I didn't see the other message in the chat. If you drive fast, you drive slow. Gotcha. So it's like that on every difficulty, or is that like just a specifically like a legend difficulty? I don't even know what the difficulties are. Like I said, I've never played 08 or 09, so I don't know if it's like just based off of the other, EA games I have played. Legend difficulties like the hardest. I don't know if there's like a Hall of Fame difficulty or something like that on the other ones. Well, maybe it'll be more competitive at least in that case. Well, the problem is like if I'm slow and they're slow too, then I would like to think you can consistently finish real well in that kind of scenario. That's what I'm getting out of that, at least. I think every car in the lead laps pit already except for Mark Martin here. Car's getting a little looser this late in the run. More so off turn 2 than turn 4. I feel like it's a little looser off turn 2. But we will be pitting very, very soon. I'm going to go to lap 71. I'll pit at lap 71. Trust me, I won't run out of gas like I did yesterday. I'll only make that mistake one day in a row. Ay, ay, ay. Really have not had to deal with much lap traffic on this opening run of the race. Even after they all cycled out of the pits. It's like they cycled everywhere on the track but where I was. So Mark Martin going to pit this time off turn 4. 70 mile per hour speed limit. I basically just locked the brakes up right off the exit of turn 4, and I could slow down like perfectly to pit road. And considering they take the access road, I would imagine that my way of pit road entry is 10 times quicker than theirs. So I'll probably gain a few seconds that way as well. My pit crew fumbled their pit stop. They were having problems trying to get that right rear tire on in practice earlier too. So hopefully we get some clean stops in the race. Some tracks take a lot of prowess like Martinsville, Sonoma. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I haven't played 08, 09 or any of the Eutechnics games with NASCAR, so kind of working our way along with that. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, this is what I was afraid about I felt like golly, stop doing that. What? That was the longest fishtail I have ever seen in my life. What was that? The big one at Homestead. I couldn't stop fishtailing. How fast was I going to have that happen? I told you this is where I could ruin my race. This pit road exit is so slippery. Oh my gosh. Blew the right front. My car got absolutely demolished there. I mean, how slow was I going to have that happen? I gotta look at the replay on my end. I was fishtailing like for the longest time. I thought I had it recovered and then it would just start fishtailing more. Oh, geez. The Jackman's falling over. I'm surprised I didn't DNF off of that, honestly. Freaking like 80 to 90 miles an hour on the back straightaway. I was fishtailing, and I felt like I was going slower than that, but it was like 80 to 90 miles an hour just sliding coming out of the pits. And then by the time I came back across the track, there just happened to be a lap car there. That's exactly what happened with me and Bobby Labonte, only mine was like in the center of the corner. We're probably going to get a lot more yellows off of that. I would imagine we're going to see quite a few debris yellows. It was a violent crash. Oh, yeah, Dave Blaney blew an engine right as we were getting to the restart. He was off the pace by way more than everybody else anyway. Oh, great. They're 4 wide. They are 4 wide off of turn 4. Right in the middle of the pack. Looks like they made it. I would assume. Dave Blaney's still trying to get the pit road. Greg Biffle leads now. Caution. Oh, I just ran over the debris. It was on the bottom of the track, right in my line. I don't know if I cut a tire or not. Well, there's caution number 2. One of the lap cars towards the front of the field. I don't know what it was. Piece of their front bumper or something. I don't think I cut a tire. I definitely hit it, though. I saw it, and it was just too late for me to miss it. Everybody's coming in, so we're just going to stay out. Oh, there we go. That works out. We got our track position back. Funny how things work. Green flag back in the air. Did not take off on that restart. I don't know how slow I'm going to be with this damage. It is very tight, by the way. Got a little loose. Sorry, Newman. Everybody's wanting to run the outside of the racetrack all of a sudden. It wasn't like this on the initial start of the race. This is a mess. This car is too loose with the damage. Hang on to it. I need to get down to the bottom like ASAP. Oh, this car just hit the wall right in front of me. I can't run this high up on the racetrack here. That's why they're so slow. My goodness. Now they're 3 wide. Newman got ahead of everybody. He's running the bottom of the racetrack. Yep. Golly. Get to the bottom. Oh my gosh. There's no room. My car's too loose to run the outside of the racetrack. It wasn't this loose before, but the damage has definitely hurt the handling quite a bit. Surprised that wasn't a caution. Well, so Ryan Newman leads for the first time tonight. Guess I'm back down on the bottom. I just had to fall from the lead to 14th. Good news is we have a lot of racing to go. The bad news is we're going to have to pit like 2 or 3 more times in this race. And I'm going to have to deal with that pit road exit again. I don't know why it's so slippery here. It's like driving on ice. At least I didn't run out of gas. I don't know what's better at that point. If I would have ran out of gas, at least I could have coasted it to pit road. I would have rather had that than crash coming out of the pits, because I think I've hurt the speed in the car. I can't keep up with these guys anymore. I went from having the fastest, at least long-run car in the field to crashing and now being where I'm at. Well, we're 4 wide at Homestead. Passed all 3 of them. Somebody got in the wall. Probably the last lap. Turns 1 and 2. Got by Vickers for position. I mean, yeah, there's literally nothing I could have done. I felt like I wasn't really touching the analog stick much when I was fishtailing coming out of the access road. I didn't use it in qualifying. I might have to just try putting straight to the racetrack and just hope that I don't get cleaned out by somebody else. That's gonna be my best opportunity to not wreck. Because otherwise, if I do that again, I'm definitely DNFing. I really don't know how I didn't DNF off that first hit. Definitely knocked some speed out of it. It's unfortunate. Yeah, picking positions back up again. Slowly but surely. Here we go. Past Kyle Busch for 9th. About 2.5 seconds off the lead for Mark Martin. And again, a lot of racing still to go here today. We aren't even to lap 100 yet. Back-to-back cautions. Sadler's car not competitive on the game. Well, so, I mean, that gives me hope for taking Dave Blaney then. Because that's who I was going to drive as for the next Cup season to try to make it more competitive. But yeah, I mean, Mark Martin, I know he's got an A-plus car, like, all the way around on this. Pretty much all the Roush cars and Hendrick cars do. I wonder how many cars DNF from that giant crash on the back straightaway. By the way, I'm also surprised we only had one caution for debris out of all that. I would expect that. Well, I guess they pitted. The entire field pitted, so they probably ended up repairing their damage. So it's probably why we only got the one debris yellow. How about Jeff Green in the top 10 again? He had a top 10 at Indy. Now he's running 8th at Homestead. Dave Blaney's car's terrible in the game. Oh, hey, I mean, it gives me a challenge. I'll find out after a couple races how challenging it actually is. Maybe I could stay in the draft and win on super speedways or something. Definitely can't afford to get into trouble like I did here. How many cars were involved in the crash? A lot. There was definitely a lot. Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle definitely benefited from that crash. Cycled up to the front on the pit stop sequence and driving away. By the way, Jeff Green is in 6th. About to get crossed over by Casey Kane, but Jeff Green's got some speed. Jimmy Johnson slowly working himself forward. Dale Jr. is going to send it 3 wide. I'll just follow him. By Casey Kane and Jeff Green there. Oh, you know what? Jeff Green might be a lap down. I passed 2 cars there. Was I? No, I wasn't 9th. Okay, yeah, that was a spot. Never mind. Thought I had Dale there. I just don't have the straightaway speed I did before. Oh, he got in the back of Jeff Gordon. He slowed himself up a ton getting into 3. And that's my opportunity to make the pass. Maybe both of them. Oh, the 178's slowing everyone up now. Thank you. Thank you. Mark Martin to 4th. Kurt Busch just fell from 4th to about 9th. Got stuck on the high side on the front straightaway behind the 178. He was down a cylinder. At least a cylinder, maybe 2. For blowing an engine earlier. Now me and Dale Jr. are in the top 5. Jimmy Johnson might have a chance to win back-to-back races with everything happening the way it did. Got the fuel mileage win at Indy. Didn't lead a whole lot of laps in that race. But got the win. He also ended up finishing 2nd at Phoenix. So he is honestly even hotter than me at this point in the season. Just based off the 2 races since coming back this season. I'm scared Johnson gets out ahead. I'm not going to be able to pass him. Because he's closed in on Newman and Biffle at a quicker rate than I have. I mean, he was in like 8th place when I was in 9th initially, too. And he passed cars way quicker. When I was able to get through, I was only able to get through him as quick as him to a certain extent because that 178 car slowed up like 3 cars on the front straightaway. And went from 7th to 4th off that alone. Johnson going to 2nd as he gets by Ryan Newman. Car okay after the crash. I mean, it's okay in the sense that we're still alive and at least competitive, but I don't think I have the fastest long-run car in the field anymore. Sadler had the fastest short-run car at the initial start of the race, but now he's back in traffic, so I don't even know if we'll see him again, honestly. Lost a lot of time in the pits. Yeah, right. I guarantee he's going to block. Look at that. Kirchie said he wasn't going to block. It looks like he's blocking to me. Newman goes wide. He blocked too much. One too many blocks, and now Martin's up to third. Yeah, this car's definitely looser than it was at one point in this race. Tried to get to the lead here before Johnson's able to get there. I honestly don't want to lead because I feel like this car, as loose as it is right now with the damage, it's going to get aero loose. Somebody gets directly behind me for a long period of time. Johnson had a big run there. I thought he was going to have a chance to get there. Overdrove it, though. All the extra speed he had off 4 into 1, and Newman underneath. Come on. It is struggling down the straightaways, though, and Johnson trying to stay in front, but the mid-corner speed's going to be up for the 6. Clears Jimmy Johnson for second off turn 4. Well, there we go. Right behind the Biff now. Lap car up in the wall. Turns 3 and 4. It's been a weird race. The lap car is bouncing off the wall consistently. And Tony Stewart might be pretty quick, considering he would have won the championship the season before this game came out. Cover driver's car said 19th or thing. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, 178's going to slow Biffle up right in the middle of the corner. And Mark Martin's going to blast by him to the lead. Well, there you go. Johnson got to second, though. He was also able to get by Biffle. Biffle in third. We're going to be catching that 178 car like every 6 to 8 laps, I feel. Maybe closer to 10 laps. Yeah, this 48 car's way quicker than Mark Martin here. Martin's found his way back to the front, but I don't know how long he's going to be able to stay in front of Jimmy. Might have to try tightening my car up when we make that second pit stop. Going to be able to make it to, honestly, with the cautions, probably past lap 140. I hit at lap 71. We had 2 yellows since. Well, then I would have topped off on fuel after the incident, too, so we might be able to make it around lap 150. I would imagine we only have 2 more stops left in this race. I'm so sorry, Biffle. I got loose off turn 2. I can't hold the outside like I was able to earlier. Now it's loose in. Yeah, I was afraid of getting aero loose like this with a car behind me. Part of the reason why I didn't want to lead, that 178 car was so gosh darn slow. Yeah, I'll sit behind Jimmy. I have no problem doing that. At least I can keep up with him. He's going to be tough to pass anyway. It's probably going to be similar to the circumstance we had very early when we couldn't get around the 38, so we got like 30 laps into the run. But where I'm at on handling, and I can't push the issue and wreck again here. I think my damage percentage is at like 83. It's probably a little less than after the contact with Biffler. He's going to the outside. I'm not going to pass him because I'm just going to get aero loose as soon as he drives to my back bumper again, like I did and lost the lead, and I don't want to spin out. I've at least played this game enough to know that. Wish he would park it on the bottom. It's the only reason I'm quicker than him is because he's not running the bottom of the racetrack. I'm not quicker down the straightaways, but I'm quicker in the corners because of it. Yeah, he just pulled me quite a bit down the backstretch there. There we go. He got to the bottom passing Paul Menard. Hopefully he stays there now. Newman Took a little longer to get by Menard through 3 and 4 than the 6 and the 48 cars in front of him. Who? Okay, so now we're going to have 2 slow cars on the track. I didn't hear who it was, but somebody else is now returning as well. We're going to have 2 cars that are going to be well off the pace. Halfway through the fuel run. After this next lap car, it's going to be a lot of open traffic until we end up catching the 178 again. This thing is even loose without somebody on my rear bumper at this point. Tony Raines riding the wall. Mark Martin's going to blow a tire. Nah. I'm not going to blow a tire. Tires are probably going to wear a little quicker this run than what we had initially at the damage, I would assume, because it definitely feels looser. I'm going to have to snug it up quite a bit. And they topped off on fuel after me, so the window of when everybody's going to pit, I would imagine, is going to be about the same this time around. There's that 178 car. Oh, he's going to slide up right in front of Johnson. Ran right in the back, JJ. Scott Riggs in the 10 is the other slow car. Oh, he hardened the brakes there. How about spun out just trying to keep it off the 48? Wow. All right, back to clean traffic. I think Biffle's in third now. I don't think Newman's in third anymore. Newman might have got stuck behind Riggs in the 170. The fact that they're like nose to tail with each other too. After dodging both at the same exact time. Yeah, I mean, the tires are fine. The car's just looser because of the damage. I mean, I'll try to snug it up when we make the next pit stop, but it's probably going to be like this the rest of the race. At least a little bit. More so later in the run than earlier in the run, which is going to be kind of problematic when we get towards the very end of the race, because I would imagine that it's probably going to be a long tire stint to make it to the end. Even if I try to stretch this next fuel run out as long as I possibly can, we make it to like lap 150-ish, maybe a little bit before lap 150, I'll have to pit again. It's going to be pretty close to making it on one stop to the finish from there. We should be able to do it, but we're going to have to go basically 2 full fuel runs after the next stop to make it to the end of the race. So again, I'm just kind of buying my time behind Johnson, just trying to keep up with him and go from there. So I definitely don't have pull away speed like I did before. I do think in some parts when he runs the bottom consistently, I do think he's quicker than me. I'm just not running the bottom consistently. Greg Biffle's actually closing in on both the 48 and the 6. He's running the bottom of the racetrack, while Johnson and Martin are not. which I really don't want him closing in too close because then he's going to get me arrow loose. I'm trying to stick to the plan as much as I can here. I mean, we're going to have to deal with pitting under green, unless, of course, we get a caution. End up getting a yellow, then I'll just pit then, but got to make sure we're within 140 laps to the end of the race to make sure we can make it on 2 more stops, which we're getting close. .178 car just pitted. He's working his way back up to speed. Biffle's closing in on Johnson and Martin as this run carries on. Johnson back to the bottom of the racetrack now, but Scott Riggs is there. Johnson checking up. Martin checks up behind him. And Greg Biffle's going to take the lead, and we're just going to follow the 16. That works for me. Now we'll follow Biffle. I'd rather follow a teammate anyway. Biffle's running the bottom. I don't know how much longer he's going to do that for, but doing it for right now. Martin trying to close in on the 16 car, having problems trying to do it. 48 of Jimmy Johnson is right there. The top 3 all nose to tail. Yep, there's the arrow loose moment. Don't start fishtailing again. Yeah, here we go again. Don't hit anything. Don't hit anybody. Caution's out. Nobody hit me. Oh, my gosh. Yellow flag, Tony Stewart. Yellow flag. Jeez. Luckily, it was well after the AI took over at that point, so I don't think it actually damaged the car, but... Well, now we got a caution at a weird spot of not knowing if we can actually make it on 2 stops from here or not. It's close. Yeah, it's close. I'm going to do the right thing here. I did cause the yellow again. The only reason I took tires the last time is because I actually had a flat tire. I did cause the yellow. I'm not going to take tires here. That's the typical rule that I try to follow, that I want to keep my track position in that scenario. I got arrow loose off turn 4 at the 48 right on my back bumper, which is the whole reason why I didn't want to lead the race, because I was scared that that was going to happen. The problem is Biffle closed in and then it made the top 3 tight. I didn't want to lose another spot. That probably was going to have to be the ideal situation. To first win the race, I can't talk. To win the race, I can't, what the heck? It's not a tongue twister. I'm making it harder to say what it is. What are we doing here? Why is this car so loose all of a sudden? Get out of 3rd gear, please. My goodness. To win the race, you must first finish the race. So that's what I was trying to say like 50 million times. Everybody's so slow with the 178 and the 10 holding them up. We'll catch back up to this pack in no time. This thing is way too loose. Honestly, I think I'm just going to short pit and pit under green here at some point before I actually lose control and end my race. Get by Scott Riggs in this 178 car first. Maybe. I jammed on the brakes because Riggs pulled down right in front of me. I'm pitting here. I'm pitting here. I'm going to have to short pit. We're going to take 4 tires, fuel. We're going to put another round of wedge in it. We're going to drop the air pressure 4 pounds. I'm tightening this thing up a ton. It's not bad on the short run, but my goodness, I can't handle on the long run anymore. And now I got to deal with trying to come out of the pits. I'm hoping the whole field passes me, and I'm just going to be able to go straight to the track. We just got to hope we don't get a caution at this point. Because there's, well, there were 30 cars on the lead lap, so there's definitely cars. Oh, my goodness. You've got to be kidding me. That was the worst time for a caution. 4th caution of the race comes out. Tony Stewart and David Sturamy crash in turn 1. I kid you not. If I just would have stayed out for one more lap, we would have been fine. Oh my God. That could have been any worse timing for a caution. We couldn't cycle through. If they all pit, I'm hoping they stay out. It looks like they are. If they're staying out, I'm going to top off. It's a fuel mileage race now. I mean, that's about the only way I'm going to be able to win this thing and get my lap back. I know I was just on pit road, but we're going to make sure we top off. Might as well replace tires again. Not that it's going to do anything. I mean, this race has gone in a spiral out of control here. 4 cautions now at Homestead. And the Jackman has fallen on his ass for the 2nd time. F's in the chat for the Jackman. I think he's a little tipsy. Sober up, buddy. Next race on this game is Michigan. So the only other cars that pit were Scott Riggs in this 178. They're going to be slowing up the pack in the race start. I've tightened this thing up a ton. I put a round of wedge in it. I dropped the air pressure 4 pounds all the way around. And now we're a lap down. We'll hope for the best here. I think I can make it on gas with one more stop. They may have to pit twice. They could make it on one. I would think that they're going to have to pit twice, though. Oh, my gosh. We are 3 abreast. 4 wide at Homestead. All right, well, there we are. We're in the free pass position. Tony Stewart trying to go for the lead here. And he overdrives turn 3. Martin, I do have fresher tires than everybody else. Maybe I can get away from the field because of that. Just ran my fastest lap of the race. It was the right adjustments to make. Get by the 16 car, and hopefully with these fresh tires I can drive away from them. Don't want to deal with getting aero loose again. But I really want to get back on the lead lap. All right, well, good news is we're back on the lead lap. So again, if you're just tuning in, I short pitted, and a caution came out as I was on pit road, but already went a lap down. I was leaving the pits. At least I didn't have to deal with that access road again. So in that case, at least I didn't have to worry about wrecking. But the bad part is we have fresher tires, and I'm still not pulling away from these guys. Jamie McMurray is coming into the pits. If everybody pits right now, that might be the best thing for us. I don't know if he blew an engine or if he's naturally on pit road. I got to pay attention here. Don't start doing that again. That was just a lack of tension. Yeah, they're just pitting now. Greg Biffle's coming in. He was about to get to the lead on Stewart there. I really don't need a yellow here. I gotta... As much as I did to try to tighten this thing up, it doesn't feel that much tighter than it was at the beginning of the last tire stint as well. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. So they're pitting now because they're probably in their fuel window to make this race on one more stop after this, I would imagine. This race has gotten weird. And we're about to go lap down again. I'm hoping Johnson pits this time. I don't have the speed I did. I have pressure tires, and I'm still getting passed. Johnson is pitting that time. All right, we're back on the lead lap again. We're going to have to win this race on strategy now. I went from having the fastest car in the field to wrecking, then getting trapped a lap down, trying to come back from a lap down. 6 laps, he went from 43rd to 1st. It's like rookie mode. Stewart just came onto pit road. He was running extremely low on the back straightaway. Bobby Labonte's out in front now. We'll get 5 bonus points leading the lap. Back-to-back top 10s for Labonte. He actually had a top 5 at Phoenix a couple races ago. So, or no, was that Indy yesterday he got a top 5? He had a top 5 in one of them. He finished 5th. Still got 9 cars on the lead lap that have to hit pit road. Labonte is one of them. He's coming in now. So he was able to lead a lap. Casey Kane now is going to lead his first lap. We've had a lot of drivers lead at least 1 lap in this race. With how wonky everything's been. Sadler's led, Biffle's led, Kenseth's led, Martin's led, Johnson's led, Newman's led, Bobby Labonte is led now, Tony Stewart led, Casey Kane is led. I don't think I'm missing anybody. I think that's it. I think that is everybody that's led at least 1 lap. And Casey Kane's pitting now. We might have somebody else leading this time by. Kane's slow, so I would imagine he's on the access road between turns 3 and 4 as we speak. Well, the good news is I've got clean air in front of me and I don't have anybody hot on my heels behind me. Harvick is going to lead a lap, it looks like, on pit road. Nope, never mind. He didn't get to the start-finish line yet. We might end up... Nope, Sterling Marlin did. Okay, there you go, Sterling. Sterling Marlin leads a lap during green flag pit stops. Yeah, he was ahead of the start-finish line. Now we're out in front again. Mark Martin leads by not sure how much. We'll have to wait and see at the line next time how big our lead is. I'll tell you what, that was probably the quickest we could have come from a lap down back to the lead. That caution that trapped me a lap down might actually end up helping me because I don't have to deal with traffic. But now they have slightly fresher tires and I already wasn't as fast as them as it was. I've got a 10.6 second lead. I don't think I'm going to hold on to it for very long. Try to capitalize and lead more laps. That's all I can do. And we've got a lot of racing left here today. Haven't done any field passes yet, so we'll start doing that now. 120 laps left at Homestead. Well, never mind. Caution's out. There goes our gigantic lead. Gosh darn it, man. When we need it to stay green, it doesn't stay green. When we need cautions, we don't get cautions. It's Tony Raines again. Raines had turned himself off David Stremme in turns 1 and 2 earlier, and now in turns 1 and 2, he turns himself off of Paul Menard. So back-to-back Tony Raines cautions here will now get us our 5th caution of the race, and our gigantic lead is now gone. And we're going to have to stay out of the pits This is not what I wanted. As bad as this car is handling. We'll hope for the best. Jimmy Johnson hot on the heels of Mark Martin. Green flag back in the air. Much better restart for Mark Martin this time. Quickly was able to get to the bottom of the track in front of the lap traffic. And Johnson not able to get by the lap cars into the first turn. They're 3 wide around him. And I hope they stay there. Let's get a few laps in here. Let's try to pull away with the lap traffic. I think Matt Kenseth's on the bottom. He's probably going to rip through to second here quickly. I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be able to hold on to this lead, but we'll hope for the best. Tony Stewart's about to get his way back up here. We've got older tires, a slower car. I mean, we had a 10.5 second lead on strategy with short pitting and getting the cautions when we did, and now that last caution flips the tables again, and now sure we have track position, but we don't have tires underneath us, and the car's not where I want it to be. It's better than what it was, but handling wise, but speed, it's not going to be anywhere near what it was in the very beginning of this race with the damage sustained. And here's Tony Stewart now. And he might try to get us arrow loose, so I'm just going to get my first field pass out of the way. And we will swap to Matt Kenseth in 5th. I don't want to spin out. I don't trust myself driving the car, but the AI might be better off, so we'll hope. Yeah, Kenseth's car handles the outside much better than Mark Martin's. Biffle got underneath him there. Tony Stewart looking for the lead in turn 3. Gordon Johnson going to the outside. Kenseth Biffle into the middle. Well, Martin's got to get freight train. I'm just might be a little slower with the AI driving it, but I'm not quick. It's so hard to win this thing now. Apparently Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth are rivals. Not sure what happened between these two in recent races, but Stewart not happy with the 17. Maybe it's just like real life around this time. Maybe that's why they're rivals. Stewart didn't take a swipe at Kenseth, though. Kenseth going to get back to the lead. And here's Biffle. It's going to be short-lived. Hey, this battle, he keeps going back and forth like this at the front of the field. That was a very low dive off for. I got a little loose clipping that apron. It might keep Mark Martin in contention. Might. Big dive getting into 3 for Kenseth. Little slide job, and he clears Biffle up turn 4. I'll tell you what, though, at times, this has been a racy race today. Swap to Biffle again, try to get this battle going back for Kenseth. Just starts to get away with it. Scott Riggs and the 178 car are going to be creeping in here very soon. Probably next lap will catch them. We'll have to wait and see who's going to get by him the quickest. Biffle underneath Kenseth for the lead in 3 and 4 first. Another lead change. Biffle clear off turn 4. Biffle technically the defending winner of this race. I drove it into the wall trying to get around him, but it actually worked. It's not the way I wanted to pass him, but they slowed up so much on the bottom of the track, I was able to actually hold on to the lead because of that. Something about Scott Riggs is always pulling to the bottom of the track when I creep up on him, as slow as he's been in this one. Oh, boy. Little love tap. Against the wall. I'll swap to Jamie McMurray next time by at the line. Stewart back out in front. Kenseth's got a great run off the high side on the exit of turn 2. He's going to go for the crossover. Biffle's going to get underneath both of them in the center of 3 and 4. A little loose. The apron slides up the racetrack. And they'll merge, and Biffle's clear yet again. Where's Jamie at? Oh, he's deep. Jamie McMurray all the way back in 23rd. About to be 21st. Kurt Busch is back in 20th. I wonder if he's still struggling to pass the 178 car every time he gets to him. Because he was in the top 5 earlier in the race. He was in the top 5, and now he's about to be in 21st. McMurray makes the pass. It was a lap car he just got around before that, the 145. That Ryan Newman just in front of us, too. Man, Penske cars have... Oh, no, that's like a wall trip. It looked like Newman for a second. I was going to say, what happened to Team Penske today? Kyle Busch also mid-pack. Murray ripping through these guys for right now, at least. 100 laps to go at Homestead this time by at the line. Go one more lap with McMurray, and then we'll go back to Mark Martin again. Got a spot on Brian Vickers. Will be 17th for McMurray. I don't know where he's at in points exactly. I'd like to see him get a top 10 points finish. He doesn't consistently finish in the top 10 like the other 3 Roush cars, though, so I don't know that he's going to be able to do it, but got a decent amount of races left on this season, so I guess you never know. All right, so Martin about... I mean, 6th place is not bad, all things considered that have happened in this race for us. Going to be closing in on those 2 lappers of Scott Riggs. I still don't know who's in the 178, so I'm just going to keep calling him the 178 car until I find out, but... Going to be slowing everybody up on the front straightaway here. Went from half a second quicker than the leaders just in the midst of passing these lap cars. Might get a position out of it to the inside of Stewart. Didn't quite clear him, though. Kenseth got to the lead through all that. Johnson second. Gordon up to third. I don't think he's led yet today. Oh, boy. Deep dive by Mark Martin. And how about Mark Martin? Driving his way to third place. A little assist from those slow lappers. I mean, I tightened the 6 car up quite a bit. I don't know how much tighter I want to actually try to make it here. Got an extra burst of speed all over again, though. I'm just getting all my field passes out of the way now, before we make it to the final pit stop of the race. I think as many more times as we'll catch Scott Riggs in that 178 car, I do think Martin can keep up in those moments. A lot of smoke up in turns 1 and 2. I wonder if it was Tony Raines with another car again, like it was to bring out the last 2 cautions we've seen so far. Johnson going for the lead under Kenseth. Trying to have 3 straight top 2 finishes for Jimmy. Second at Phoenix, a win in the Brickyard 400, and now he's in the lead with less than 100 to go at Homestead here tonight. So he protects the bottom of the racetrack on the front straightaway. Biffle should get by Kenseth through 1 and 2 for second. Ton of lead changes here in this race today. And Biffle's going for the lead in 3 and 4. He's got it easily. And the 2-time Ford 400 winner at Homestead, Greg Biffle, leads another lap at the line over Johnson. Honestly, for who's going to get the most laps led in this race, that's got to be wide open. We've seen so many different leaders in this one. I have no clue who's going to get the 10 bonus points. It could be the 16, it could be the 48, it could be the 38. I mean, he led a ton early. It could be the 17, the 6, the 20. Still got quite a few laps left in the grand scheme of things here, but my goodness. If we stay green long enough, we'll have dense lap traffic again, like we did earlier. Got a car on pit road right now. Not sure if that's another driver that maybe has blown an engine or not. Here's the 178. Kenseth and Stewart going to get by him pretty quickly. Scott Riggs is not that much further up ahead. Kenseth stay way low, all the way to the apron off 4 to get by Riggs. Riggs slows Stewart, Biffle, and the rest of the group of cars up, though, behind him. Car in the wall in turns 1 and 2. Looks like Kyle Petty in the 45 again. One of those few cars that are a few laps down running the wall. There's extremely off the pace cars, then there's off the pace cars, and then there's regular lap cars, and then the leaders. Like, it's how many? It's like an IMSA race with many different classes. Tony Raines is slow. He's caused the last 2 accidents, so he's probably got a ton of damage. Paul Menard, David Stremme were getting by. I think Jimmy Johnson has gotten the second. I'll swap back to Jamie McMurray next lap for a few, and then we'll go back to Mark Martin for the remainder of the race. Matt Kenseth leads the Ford 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. McMurray's driven his way to 15th place now. Wasn't 17th when we last left off with him, so he's slowly picking up positions. Kyle Busch's car coming to life. He gets to the inside of McMurray. Tries to get back to 15th. Caught in the middle, try to get the crossover on the 5 here. Yep, got him. The old slingshot. And Vickers going to get by his teammate through turns 1 and 2 as well. We're 16th, couple cars side by side up here, more than likely both for position. Be the 13th and 14th place cars. Not sure McMurray's going to get to him before we transfer to Mark Martin for the rest of the race. Caution. Trouble looks like it turns 1 and 2. I saw a few cars up against the outside wall. Oh, yeah, definitely wrecked in 1 and 2. And it's Tony Raines again, right in front of Mark Martin. Good job, Mark Martin. Mark Martin survived it. He got hard on the brakes. He misses the wreck. And I think we're still outside the fuel window to make it to the end from here. So with that being said, we're going to pit with Jamie McMurray because I don't know how many cars. He's going to lose quite a bit of track position. Oh, Martin's pitting too. All right, so I like that. I like that Mark Martin is pitting because when we swap back to him, we'll have fresh tires then. And my car doesn't handle as well on the long run since the damage. That's one less stop I have to make under green at a sooner pace at least. And the rate that the cautions are coming out, this being our 6th of the race, I don't think it's going to be the last. Tony Raines has caused the last 3 cautions. He's got to get black flagged by NASCAR at some point, you would imagine. How many yellows can a man cause before you have to get parked for the rest of the race? Yeah, I'm okay with Mark Martin pitting there. We're outside the fuel window, so like I said, I can like split it in half the rest of the way now. And I think the handling should be okay the rest of the race. Maybe catch a caution at a later period of time, trap the field a lap down. Yeah, there's definitely a few different ways we can go about it. So having to work through traffic now as the green flag is back in the air. Matt Kenseth leads in the Ford 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So watch for Scott Riggs in this 178 car. That is, oh, well, we got another crash in turn 4. Everybody is slowing up. First lap on the restart, we got a yellow flag yet again. Oh, the leaders, Jimmy Johnson got in the wall. Johnson with a lap car, Reed Sorensen. It looked like Denny Hamlin might have piled into the left rear of the 48. Paul Menard might have gotten a piece. Spiffle, I think, clipped the right front of the 48. Surprised more cars weren't involved. And top off with McMurray. We'll splash and go here. I might as well take tires again, I guess. I didn't get any positions, I don't think, for the caution came out. First lap after the restart. And Jimmy Johnson, who was battling for the lead there. Kenseth was leading, so I think Johnson was in second. He was trying to clear Sorensen, the lapper, on turn 4. Didn't clear him. Caution out. I was not expecting this kind of a race today at Homestead. 7 yellows. I only caused 2 of them. So, I mean, we're getting natural yellows way more in this one than what we had the last 2 races combined. We had 1 yellow the last 2 races combined, and we've had 7 tonight. Three of the 7 were Tony Raines crashing into somebody on the outside. It was very similar to the Raines crash, but this time it was Jimmy Johnson. And we've still got some lappers up there. Green flag back in the air. Lap 193 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. It's not wreck again this time. That's the dangers of being at the back of the pack. They end up crashing. We've seen a lot of 3 and 4 wides on these restarts. Well, they didn't wreck this time. Well, they are definitely wadding up on the front straightaway into turn 1. And McMurray with a huge dive bomb. Got by a plethora of cars there, up to 25th. They checked up big for those very 2 cars that we've been passing every 10 laps or so under green flag conditions. Again, Jamie McMurray, much fresher tires than the rest of the field. Same for Mark Martin. And we'll race as Martin for the rest of the day now. Oh, we got trouble. Couple cars up against the wall. No caution this time. Turns 1 and 2. Martin in 27th. Kenseth's still the leader. I'm just going to stay to the bottom and hope they don't wreck and come down the track. I mean, don't want to get trapped on the outside the way things have been here. Middle of the pack on these restarts. Four wide in turns 1 and 2. Martin passing all of the cars that were to his outside. Again, the 6 is on fresh tires. The 6 and the 26 have the freshest tires in the field. They pitted with these couple yellows. They obviously have the most fuel in their cars as well. I don't think we can make it to the end, but we can get pretty close. We keep saving gas with these cautions coming out. We went 71 laps. We really only have to go about 75, 76 green flag laps to the end if it stays green the rest of the way. So, I mean, it was a fuel mileage race, and then with the yellows, it wasn't a fuel mileage race, and now it's getting close to a fuel mileage race again. If my tires can handle long enough into the run, you know, even if we have to pit in the final, like, 10 laps, I might be able to just go splash and go, and then... But that's if we stay green. I doubt we're staying green the rest of the way this race is gone. I'd be shocked. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, we gotta save our tires. Can't have that happen. I crowded Brian Vickers way too much there. That was definitely on me. Caution, well, that catches us back up again. Yellow flag's out. About 70 laps left, and it's another Tony Raines caution. That's unbelievable. 4 Tony Raines cautions in this race, and that's the second time he's driven Paul Menard into the wall. Tony Stewart's going to have a line of guys outside his hauler at the end of the race waiting to smack him. I'm pitting. I mean, we're even closer to the fuel window now than what we were before. That, and I don't know how much of the tires that just burned off the car with that slide after contact with Vickers, so I'll pit. What a race at Homestead. It's a wacky one for sure. I was not expecting Homestead to be like this in the Cup Series. It's only 8 cautions, but it feels like more than 8. We probably had like 4 or 5 of those 8 cautions in the last 50 laps or so. Ever since we had that yellow that trapped us a lap down when we short pitted, we've just had caution after caution after caution.
A lot of cars stayed out on that caution, so we're starting towards the back.
All right. More cars keep getting the free pass with all these yellows coming out too. Somehow David Stremmy's on the lead lap. I feel like we passed him so many times today to lap him. Getting all his laps back. Got 35 cars on the lead lap. There's very few that are actually a lap down. So they may space out the restarts a little more. It won't be double file as often. It's going to be a land rush into turn 1. Scott Riggs in the 178 car are going to be holding everybody up on the front straightaway. Look at this. 103 is apparently upset with Mark Martin. A little contact, a lot of contact. Driving in the grass trying to get around everyone. Jeez Louise. Up to 14th through all that. I just passed like 20 cars in a lap and a half. Somebody was trying to pit too. Somebody just pitted. I feel like Jeremy Mayfield might have just thrown his car to pit road. Yeah, we got cars pitting. I'm staying out the rest of the way. I mean, it's going to be close on fuel to the end of this race for us. Fuel mileage race at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm hoping we stay green long enough we can lap the field. Jamie McMurray is going to be close too. Jamie McMurray is going to be very tight. He did not pit that last caution, but he pitted the one before that. So if you remember, we had a string of 3 yellows in the span of about a dozen laps or so there. McMurray pitted under the 2nd. We pitted under the 3rd. So we're going to be the closest to making it to the finish. But if we're a few laps to the good, McMurray could make it as well. So we could be racing the 26 for the win here today. If we somehow stay green to the end. Which, again, the way these cautions are landing, I just don't see this race staying green. Tony Raines is up against the wall again. He's probably going to wreck like 3 or 4 more cars the rest of this race. Ryan Newman pitting. Mark Martin not going to have these fresh tires for very long. to mention, we went caution-free through the first, like, 72 laps of this race. All 8 yellows have come between them and then and now, and that's probably why it feels like we've had more than 8 cautions. It's not like they were flying freely from the very beginning. I'd really like this to stay green to the end. Because otherwise, we're going to have to deal with everybody hot on our heels on a restart again like we had earlier. On a little bit older tires with not as fast of a car that can win this race on speed anymore. So now that we're going to have to stretch this fuel run all the way out, tires are fine now. They're going to be shot at the end of this race. Jeff Green for position. He's surviving the wrecks. Remains in the top 10. Good day for him. Jimmy Johnson back out in front. Tony Stewart just gave up the lead as he pits.
All right, 3 seconds off the lead. Stay you'll catch him.
Couple more pitting. Bobby Labonte, Kevin Harvick are in. Johnson continues to stay out. I believe Matt Kenseth is also still on the track. I don't remember him pitting. So again, Mark Martin and Jamie McMurray should be a whole lap ahead of the field. And first and second, once these last few cars on the lead lap pit. One of them are coming in right now. Johnson remains on the track. Jeff Gordon was in second, not Matt Kenseth, so I guess Kenseth's pit already. So Gordon is in. Johnson remains out there. And again, we still have a tight race for the battle for the most laps led. And I think we're still in contention. No clue in the ballpark of how many laps we've led today, but the strategy, if we get a long green flag run here, will help us lead a bunch of laps to the end. Johnson pits. Martin back to the lead. For the first time in a long time, but here we go. Now the race is on to the finish. Got about a 3.5 second lead back to Jamie McMurray. We do have pretty much equal tires with McMurray. I have a couple lap pressure tires on the 26. But everybody else can have pressure tires than us. But we do have a lap lead on them except for the 26 car, so. This is the strategy that can win this race, and we're committed to trying to stay out to the finish now. And at least if we were to get a yellow, there would only be 2 cars on the lead lap, excluding whoever gets the free pass, which it's going to be interesting as to who that would be once everybody cycles through these green flag stops, because Johnson wasn't leading before the green flag stops started, but he was the last car to pit road. They're definitely going to be able to make it on field to the end. Me and McMurray, it's going to be tight. McMurray has less of a chance of making it than us. I think we can make it. I think. But, again, I can't really save a lot because McMurray's on... Like, I'm not going to be able to save until, like, the very end. And we don't know if we're going to get any cautions, so if I start saving and let more cars get back on the lead lap, I'm definitely not going to win that way. So, I mean, yeah, we really have to ride this out for a while. I don't think we've seen the last caution, but I like the spot we're in, all things considered. I don't know who's faster between me and McMurray. Like, with my damage, I wonder if the 26... Oh, Jesus. I knew it. I knew we hadn't seen the last one. At least it was after everybody pitted. Good old Tony Raines. For the 4th time today, Tony Raines has caused a crash. It's our 9th caution. This time he was 3 wide. with Robbie Gordon in the 109 car. T-boned himself into the wall for the 4th time today. This time it was in 3 and 4. I think the other times it was in 1 and 2. Golly. I gotta stay out right now. Oh, Casey Kane's on the strategy too. I had no idea. So apparently Casey Kane's on the same strategy. Green flag back in the air. And now all these faster cars are going to try to get their laps back. Yeah, there they go. Their fresh tires. Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle. Stuck on the outside again. I don't like this. Oh boy, Jamie, keep it down there. Casey Kane in the lead at Homestead. Jamie McMurray gets up into Mark Martin again. I'm glad I have fresh tires because otherwise I would not be able to hold on up here. Fresher. Casey Kane, Jamie McMurray are up there. Martin boxed in behind him. I might have speed to race with these two. I don't have speed to race with like Stewart and them guys, but don't hit anything. Oh my gosh. I was holding the outside for so long. Johnson's down in the grass. McMurray out in front for the first time today. With 5 bonus points for him now. McMurray stuck behind Biffle. Martin all the way to the apron. And back to the lead. Oh, gosh, I got tight. I got back in the gas too soon. Back across the track into Kurt Busch, and we've got a heavy impact. Back down to the bottom. Caution flag is out again for the 10th time today. Gosh darn it, it all started when I made contact with Gordon, and then I went down the track and I lost control. I always slingshot right back up into traffic. Like, once it fishtails, you can't catch it. Like the 3rd time I fishtailed in this race. You just can't catch it. Now we've got a flat tire again, so here we come right back to pit road. Well, now we'll definitely... I mean, all these yellows, if we were close on fuel before, everybody's going to be good now between the 9, the 26, and the 6. More cars are going to be back in the lead lap because they got out ahead of all the leaders there. Caution is out again at Homestead. Flat left rear this time. First it was the right rear, now it's the left rear. Well, we're still in the race. Golly, we're probably the back half of the top 10 now. There's quite a few cars that were able to get around the leaders on that restart. I got to get to the bottom as soon as I can. I mean, it's just so hard. There's so many cars there. 8 cars in the lead lap now. Green flag back in the air. Martin got to the bottom quickly. Some restarts I can and some I can't. But got to the bottom that time. 3 wide for the lead up at the very front of the field. 40 to go here at Homestead. McMurray leads. How much speed is wrecked out of the 6 car of Mark Martin? Look at this mess. Contact with Vickers. Four wide. Caution. Further back in the pack in turns 1 and 2. Yellow flags out again, our 11th of the race. Paul Menard and David Stremme at the tail end of the field. Ay, ay, ay. I wonder what the record is at Homestead for the most cautions. What is the track record here? We're at 11 right now. I think I passed a few cars there before the caution came out. Yeah, I did. I'm not in 8th anymore. Looks like we're in 5th. Casey Kane in the lead. Green flag back in the air. We're less laps now to make it to the finish from here. All right, there we go. Martin got down to the bottom quickly again. It's a little easier when you're further back in traffic than what it is when you're at the very front. These lap cars are keeping me in it right now. That Casey Kane, I don't think if Stewart gets to the lead, we're going to be able to get back to him. Trying to take advantage of this all the way on the bottom of the track. Mark Martin blistering through the field. It's no straightaway speed. He can get him in the corners. The straightaways, not so much. Martin underneath Harvick. Look at Casey Kane go. I don't know if Sadler's on the lead lap or not. He was fast early. Martin right in line with Casey Kane. Just can't keep up down the straightaways. A lot of smoke in 1 and 2, but there was no caution that last time. Sounds like Martin's clear off turn 2. I'm going to try to stay behind Kane and see if we can maybe drive away from everybody else. Again, I got to protect the tires on this car to the end. But survive that last restart. Here we are. A lot of bottom left open. Martin's going for it. I didn't want to, but Casey Kane left it open. Casey's still on the outside, though. There is just no straightaway speed for this 6 car. Kane back to the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Still don't know if Sadler's on the lead lap or not. I don't think he is, but I don't know 100% if he is a lap down or not. Keep it green, boys. Keep it green. I like my spot right now. I think I can beat Casey Kane. I'm staying patient behind him for the moment. Unless the 17 and the 20 start to get up here, then we're going to have to try to step on it. But 30 to go. Kane trying to get his first win of the season. I did not see Casey Kane in contention for the win in this race for the longest time, but he's in contention for the win in this race. And that number 9, Evernham Dodge, has won here before with Bill Elliott in 01. The wall scrape off turn 2 that last time by for Martin as well. Slowed him down a bit off the exit of the corner. Slow car in 3 and 4. Well off the pace. Martin got loose again, overcorrected, and tagged the wall again. How much looser I would probably be if Casey Kane was like right on my rear spoiler. It's probably Elliott Sadler on my rear spoiler that's getting me loose right now. We don't have many green flag laps on our tires, so the car shouldn't be this loose. Although I did damage it a second time, so there's that. Next lap, going to end up catching Scott Riggs in the 178 yet again. 27 laps to go at the line. Again, Casey Kane leads. Mark Martin second here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Plethora of cautions in this one. I think we're sitting at 11 of them. Kane slowed up off turn 2. And the race is now to try and get by the 178 and the 10. Martin sails it into 3. 3 wide under both of them. Kane got stuck. Sadler's going to get by the 9, it looks like. Or at least they'll be side by side when they clear the 10 and the 178. Martin out in front at Homestead by about 0.8 of a second. And it sounds like Mark Martin has just clinched the most laps led. I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold on to the lead for here, but we shall see. Kane on the inside of Sadler now, trying to cross him back over. Yeah, rookie mode would repair the car fully, but yeah, we don't do that here. Rookie mode would be a joke for me. I feel like I'd literally win all 36 races, no problem. If we were on rookie. Car's fine and clean air. I mean, I can feel it's loose, but it's not unbearable. It's when they get on my rear spoiler is the problem. Which Casey Kane is creeping in. I think next lap he's going to be there. I'm not as quick with this damage, which is why I wanted Casey Kane to lead, but he just took too long to pass the other 2 cars, the 10 and the 178. There's no straightaway power here for the 6. Kane goes to that middle to upper group. Kyle Busch, I don't know if he's a lap down or not, but he is maybe up in contention in that 5 car. Sadler got to the inside of Kane off turn 2. Maybe going to buy more time. I don't know who's on the lead lap and who isn't. I know Casey Kane is, but I don't know about the 38 and the 5, who may or may not be on the lead lap between the 2 of them. Sadler trying to get by to the outside, and he is a lap down. He got his bumper out in front of us at the line there, and we still led the lap. Martin clinched the most laps led, by the way, a couple laps ago. Kyle Busch going to get by Kane. And here comes the 5 to the inside of the 38. Into turns 3 and 4. Kane underneath both of them. And Biffle's ripping. Biffle's up to 3rd. Yeah, this is where I may get arrow loose. Kane to the inside for the lead. Off turn 2, side by side. Martin trying to get to the bottom of the track in front of the 5 of Busch, and he just able to do so. Oh yeah, Kyle Busch is for position. As he goes backwards, he meaning Martin. Busch up to 2nd. Is Kyle Busch going to go for the lead here? He looks like he's going to. Look, contact between the 6 and the 9. Biffle to 3rd. Biffle's probably the fastest guy up here right now. It's the first we've seen Kyle Busch up in contention all race. Let's stay behind him for now. Still got 18 laps to go. There we go. Just can't let anybody get on my rear spoiler. Especially off the exit of the corner, but really anywhere through the corner for the most part. Oh, Busch checked up, but these lappers in the way again. Martin's going to get right back to the lead. And right into the back of Scott Riggs. And nowhere to go. There goes Biffle. Golly. I couldn't get the car to turn. Busch to second. So loose on that outside lane. Well, I sailed it in there to try to get by Busch, trying to pick him behind both of those guys that were side by side. And sure enough, that happened. All right, well, here we are again. I gotta do all I can just to keep up with these guys. Nobody directly behind us. Case Gaines still in fourth, but he has fallen back a bit. Still got the lap car of Elliott Sadler behind him. Two Roush Fenway Fords up here for the win in the Ford 400. We've seen a photo finish here in a similar year with Martin and Biffle in the mid-2000s here at Homestead. Maybe we got another one today. I am struggling to keep up with him. Busch went to the middle groove there through 3 and 4, and he lost time. That allowed for Martin to close in on him. They run the bottom. I can't keep up with them there. And they both go to the bottom again through 1 and 2. They get side by side. That could help Martin as well. Busch has a run off turn 2, looking to the inside of Biffle. Busch overcooked the corner. Can Martin clear Busch for second? Can't clear him. The slide job. I used all that apron to try to get to second that time. All clear. Well, here we go. Right in line behind Mr. Biffle yet again. And Kyle Busch keep up with the 16 and the 6 now. Should catch the 10 and the 178 at least one more time in this race. Biffle runs the bottom there. I mean, we can really get away from Kyle Busch and make this a 2-car race for the win. It's going to make it hard for me to pass him when the time comes, but I'm like barely keeping up with him right now. Ten laps to go at Homestead. First and second place right there. Greg Biffle, Mark Martin, Kyle Busch, not that far behind. Still in contention, depending on what lap traffic will do here. And you never know if we get another caution because we've seen quite a few of them in this one. 11 of them total. 11 or 12. I lost count after a little bit. At least 11. I'm not going to be able to rip the fence. I'm not even going to attempt that. Biffle slowing. Yep, there we go. Back to the lead. The 178 and the 10 are on the bottom of the track. 9 laps to go at Homestead. Biffle going to get by him on the back straightaway. Yeah, my car's way too loose. That outside lane just isn't quick. It's the only thing keeping us somewhat competitive here. 8 to go. We may catch those two one more time. 8 laps left at the line there. We may catch the 10 and the 178 one more time in this one. They've costed us the lead. They've helped us get to the lead. Seems like if you're the leader when you catch them, you're a sitting duck, but Biffle to the outside. He's going to try to get me loose. Pack that air on the rear spoiler. He's got to not overcorrect it. All right, made it through that corner. This is going to be a stressful 7 laps here. Oh, boy. Yep, there it goes. And he's back out in front again. And here comes Kyle Busch for second. Trying to get down in front of him at least. Five to go this time by Biffle back out in front. David Stremme lap car on the outside. Biffle, Martin Busch. All in contention for the race. Oh boy, that's not what I wanted to do there. I killed my speed down the straightaway. He went wide. He didn't stay to the bottom like I was hoping he would. We need to get back away from Busch here. That hurt me more than it hurt him, and he was the one that hit the wall. All right. 4 to go. Hail Melon ain't working here either. Busch lurking to the inside of Mark Martin for the second place position. Ah, I got arrow loose. Nope. No, 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 no. That's it. I lost. Frickin' frick. I'm still trying to catch it. I can't. Oh my gosh. Hopefully Biffle wins. Take it home for Roush. Martin's just trying to hold on for 4th now. Stewart to the outside lane to try to get by the 6. Couldn't quite clear, getting into turn 3, and Martin was able to get back out in front of him. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Kyle Busch to the lead into turn 1 on Greg Biffle. Don't get arrow loose again, please. Hang on for 4th. All started when we wrecked in the first 100 laps of this race, back in lap 72 specifically. And from there, the car was never handling the same again. Kyle Busch packed the air on the rear spoiler on us off turn 4 and slapped the wall. Lost a couple spots, fell to 4th. Still finished 4th at least. Kyle Busch wins his first race of the season at Homestead, passing Greg Biffle for the win on the last lap in turn 1. Kyle Busch is a winner here today, and I don't think he led until those last lap or 2 of this race. 4 laps led for Busch. He might have led during green flag pit stops then. Kyle Busch leads 4 laps in this race today, en route to the win. We did not have 78 lead changes. We found out from this game that it's not accurate with the lead change counter. Mark Martin did lead the most, though. 75 laps led. We got word of that in the final 20 laps that we did clinch the most laps led. Greg Biffle led for 54. Matt Kenseth for 31. 16 for Casey Kane, who finishes 5th. Tony Stewart led 10 laps, finishing 6th. Bobby Labonte during green flag stops led 1 lap. I remember that. Newman led for 7. That was real early in the race when he led. That was after the first caution, actually, I think, when Newman got to the lead. But he led for 7. He finishes 8th. Jamie McMurray got a top 10 on that pit strategy call. He led for 5 laps, finishing 9th. And Elliott Sadler was quick early, still rallied to get a top 10 and 10th with 25 laps led. What a wacky race here today at Homestead. Let me tell you. Dave Blaney blew a motor. That was right off the first restart of the race, lap 73. So he finishes last. Dale Jr. blew an engine. Casey Mears blew an engine. Greg Quick, I think that was the 178 car. Scott Riggs, of course, was off the pace. Jeff Gordon blew a motor in the final 30 laps, so didn't realize that. So in total, looks like we had 4 DNFs. 3 hours, 12 minutes, 42 seconds to finish this race today. 124.69 mile per hour average race speed, 11 cautions, and a 1/10 of a second margin of victory. Last lap pass for the win at Homestead. Kyle Busch over Greg Biffle. So now we will take a look at the point standings. I did beat Jimmy Johnson, so I should have extended the points lead at least a little bit. I did mute the game. And we'll be racing tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern at Michigan. Yeah, 2, 3, and 4 for Roush. Kyle Busch beat us all. First win of the season for Busch in the 5-car Hendrick Motorsports. He had a win before Jeff Gordon this season, I think. Let me take a look at that wins list and keeping track of it all year. Yeah, Gordon hasn't won yet. Kurt Busch won, so he's got the same amount of his brother now. 8 different winner this year with Busch winning this one. We had a 3.3 average finish coming into the day. That was 3.3 before yesterday, so it's probably down around 4 or worse now with finishing 6th and 4th in the last 2 races. 607-point lead over Johnson, though. We did extend the points lead with getting 10 bonus points. Johnson got 5, and we did beat Johnson. Johnson didn't even get a top 10 today. I don't know where he finished. But yeah, Martin top 5, finishing 4th. Johnson, nothing there. Matt Kenseth, he gets a top 3. Started points. Biffle finishes 2nd. Elliott Sadler had a top 10's 5th in points still. What a season he's had. Tony Stewart 6th in points. Ryan Newman 7th. Kurt Busch in 8th. Kevin Harvick 9th. Jeff Gordon 10th. J.J. Yaley's 12th in points. Jeff Green's 13th in points. Granted, Yaley's in the 18 at Joe Gibbs Racing, but we know how that panned out in real life. It's shocking to see him up there. But Jeff Green in the 66 car is 13th in points. He's beating Dale Jr. Dale Jr. 17th. He is struggling this season. He's getting outran by Jeff Green, Jamie McMurray, Bobby Labonte for RPM, J.J. Yaley, his teammate Martin Truex Jr. is ahead of him, Jeremy Mayfield. Dale Jarrett, granted he's past his prime at this point, but Kyle Busch is 22nd in points, and he just won this race. That's unbelievable. He had the speed there at the end. I mean, I noticed when I was racing as Jamie McMurray in the final 100 laps of the race at one point, and he was in 15th before we had the string of yellows at the edge of the fuel run. When McMurray was 15th and Busch was passing us for position there, it's like, man, this 5-car looks fast all of a sudden. And he worked his way through the field. And yeah, he ended up winning. 22nd in points. Wins the race. And he had the speed to do it, so good job. I think David Stremmy's last in points of the actual drivers. Because the fantasy drivers don't run every race. So that's why there's a big gap there. So 35. And Jeff Burton's 27th. Denny Hamlin's 26th. Tony Raines In what world is Denny Hamlin 26th in points in the same equipment as J.J. Yaley, and J.J. Yaley is 12th? What? Unbelievable. It's almost like it's a video game. We got some wild races coming up. We got Michigan, Talladega, Texas, Chicagoland, and Pocono as the next 5. Again, we will be streaming consecutive days on NASCAR 07 until NASCAR is back at Richmond for the Truck and Xfinity Series action on August 10th and August 11th. And then we'll return to the live commentary schedule. So hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, Michigan. Let it rip again. Trying to get a win this time.